You ever notice when something feels off? Like when the air in a room changes. You can't explain it, but you just know. That's how it started with me. I've been married to Emily for almost 8 years. We weren't perfect, but we were solid, or so I thought. She's always been the calm to my storm, the one who diffuses my overthinking with a single touch or a soft laugh. I love that about her. I still do. But lately, things have been different. It was small stuff at first. Nothing you'd really call out. She started working later than usual. Work's crazy, she'd say, flashing that tired smile. And I believed her because why wouldn't I? She's in marketing, deadlines can be brutal. But then it became consistent. 2, 3 nights a week. Then 4. Don't wait up, she'd text. And I didn't. I tried to ignore that nagging feeling twisting in my gut. The same one that whispered, something's wrong. But the real gut punch? She started being distant even when she was home. We'd sit on the couch, and she'd be scrolling through her phone, barely looking up. Conversations turned into surface-level exchanges. How was work? Fina. Everything okay? Yeah, just tired. That's it. That's all I'd get. I didn't push. I should have. But I told myself I was being paranoid, that she was just stressed. I mean, we all go through phases, right? Then, about 3 weeks ago, I noticed something weird. Her phone. She used to leave it anywhere, on the counter, the table, wherever. Now, it was glued to her hand or tucked away in her bag, and she started turning it face down. Always. I told myself it was nothing, but I felt that seed of doubt burrowing deeper. And then, the night that changed everything. It was a Friday. She was out late again. I was home alone, flipping through Netflix, but not really watching. My mind was elsewhere. I tried texting her earlier, "How's your night?" And it took her almost an hour to reply. "Good. Just finishing up. Be home soon. Love you. Love you." It felt hollow, like muscle memory. It was close to midnight when I heard the garage door open. I muted the TV, listening. Her footsteps were light as she came inside, but something was off. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like she was trying too hard to be quiet. "Hey," I called out, trying to sound casual. "Hey," she said, but her voice was soft, almost hesitant. I turned to look at her as she came into the living room. She was dressed nice. Too nice for a late night at work. Her makeup was still perfect, lips a little too red, her hair a little too neat. "Long night?" I asked, forcing a smile. "Yeah," she said, dropping her bag on the counter. Her eyes didn't meet mine. Exhausted. Liar. I wanted to ask. I wanted to grab her by the shoulders and just ask, "Were you really?" But instead, I swallowed it down and forced a smile. "Wanting to make you some tea." "Nah," she murmured, already heading for the stairs. "I'm just going to shower and crash." And that's when I noticed it. Her perfume. Emily's perfume is light, floral. I know it by heart. But that night, it was different. Stronger. Muskier. Like something unfamiliar. Not hers. I didn't say anything. I just sat there, heart pounding in my ears, as I heard the water running upstairs. My mind was racing, piecing together fragments that didn't fit. And then my phone buzzed. A notification from our home security app. Garage door opened at 11:42 p.m. I frowned. Emily had just walked in a minute ago. I checked the camera feed, but all I saw was her car pulling in. No one else. But then I noticed something weird. The door had been opened twice. Once at 11:42, and again at 11:45. 3 minutes apart. My pulse quickened. Why would she open the garage twice? I tried to brush it off. Maybe she forgot something in her car. Maybe, but my brain wouldn't let it go. I checked the indoor camera by the front door, something I almost never do. And there it was. At 11:45, the door cracked open, just a sliver. Someone had stepped inside, but I couldn't see who. Emily, what the hell is going on? I barely slept that night. My mind wouldn't shut off, replaying everything over and over. The late nights, the distance, the perfume, the door. When she woke up the next morning, I watched her. Really watched her. She was quiet, her movements too careful, like she was afraid of saying too much. "Morning," she murmured, brushing a kiss on my cheek. But I barely felt it. I couldn't do this anymore. That's when I decided I was going to find out the truth. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more. I needed something solid. So I did what any desperate husband would do. I started digging. And what I I wasn't ready for it. You know that feeling when you're standing on the edge of something, like a cliff, and your body knows one step will change everything? That's where I was. After that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. My mind kept replaying the little things I'd brushed off before. The late nights, the subtle distance, her phone always face down, and now the garage door. I needed answers, and I was done sitting in the dark. Step 1, her phone. I know. It's a shitty thing to do. I'm not proud of it. But when you're desperate, when your gut is screaming at you that something's not right, you do things you never thought you would. The problem? Emily wasn't careless anymore. Her phone was always with her, and she'd started using a passcode. Not the usual one I knew, something different. But people are creatures of habit. One night, while she was in the shower, I took a shot. I tried a few combos, our anniversary, her birthday, even random numbers. Nothing. But then, I remembered her mom's birthday. Bingo. Her home screen lit up, and what I saw nearly made my heart stop. No notifications, which might seem normal, but not for Emily. She's always getting messages. Friends, work, group chats. But her notifications? Completely wiped. Like she'd been hiding something. My stomach twisted, but I kept going. I opened her texts. Nothing stood out at first, just the usual names. Until I noticed one. L. No last name. Just the letter. I tapped it. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. L. Tonight was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. Emily. Me too. I wish we had more time. Soon. I promise. I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred, and I had to blink a few times to make sure I wasn't imagining it. What the fuck? I scrolled up, but the conversation was short. Only a few texts. And then nothing. She deleted the rest. But not well enough. Because when I checked her photo gallery, there it was. A selfie. Her, in the dress she'd worn that night. The one with a perfume didn't smell like hers. But the kicker? A man's hand was in the frame. Just barely. Resting on her thigh. I felt like the floor had been ripped out from under me. Step 2. Dig deeper. I couldn't stop now. I needed more. I needed to know who the hell L was. So, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went through our shared phone account. Checked her call logs. And there he was. L. The number showed up too many times. Late at night. During the day. Even on weekends when she claimed she was running errands. I copied the number down. But I wasn't ready to call. Not yet. Step 3. GPS. This is where things got intense. We have this Find My Phone feature on both our devices. It's supposed to be for emergencies, but that night, when she said she was going to work late, I decided to check. She wasn't at work. Her phone pinged from across town. A hotel. My throat went dry. I stared at the screen, blinking, hoping it was a mistake. But it wasn't. She was there, and I knew exactly what that meant. Step 4. The confirmation. I couldn't let it go. I needed to see it with my own eyes. So, the next night, I told her I had a work thing, something late. She barely blinked, just kissed me and said, "Okay, be safe." I watched her leave, and then I followed her. I kept a distance, my heart pounding like a war drum the entire time. She drove across town, to the same damn hotel. I parked down the street, my hands gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. My mind was racing, my body vibrating with adrenaline and rage. I saw her walk in, and then him. Tall, dark hair, confident. He met her in the lobby like he owned the place. They didn't even hesitate. They kissed. Right there, in front of everyone. Everything inside me shattered. It was like watching a movie where you know the ending, but you still hope. Please, let it be different this time. But it wasn't. She was his. And I was just some idiot waiting at home. I sat there for what felt like forever, numb. My mind screaming at me to do something. To confront her. To march in there and tear the place apart. But I didn't. Because I needed a plan. Revenge? Maybe. Closure? Definitely. I drove home that night with my mind spinning in 1,000 directions. But one thing was crystal clear. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. And I was going to make damn sure she knew it. You ever feel like you're living in someone else's life? That's how I felt the morning after I saw them. Like I was walking through a fog, going through the motions while everything around me felt wrong. Emily was in the kitchen when I came downstairs, humming softly as she made coffee. Like nothing had changed. Like she wasn't screwing some guy in a hotel while I sat at home, wondering why she didn't love me anymore. "Morning," she said with that same tired smile. But now, I saw it for what it was. A mask. I wanted to say something right then. I wanted to scream. But I didn't. Not yet. I was done being the clueless husband. But I wasn't going to confront her until I had everything in place. Because if I was going down, I was taking her with me. The first step was patience. I played my part perfectly, smiling, laughing at her jokes, kissing her goodnight like I wasn't imagining that asshole's hands all over her. She didn't suspect a thing. But behind that calm facade, I was planning her downfall. Step 1, dig deeper. I wasn't satisfied with just knowing. I needed proof. Solid, undeniable proof. So I did what any man pushed to the edge would do. I hired a private investigator. I found a guy online, discreet professional. I didn't even hesitate. I gave him everything. Her schedule, the hotel, even the number 4L. "I'll handle it," he said, cool and confident. And he did. Within days, I had pictures. Emily, him, together, different locations, restaurants, parking lots, and of course, the hotel. The nail in the coffin? A shot of them walking into the room. Her hand in his arm around her waist. I stared at the pictures for hours. It's one thing to suspect. It's another to see it. My heart felt like it had been ripped out of my chest. But pain? Pain sharpens you. And I was sharper than I'd ever been. Step 2. Who the hell is L? I wasn't going to let this guy stay a mystery. I did some digging. I had his number, and with a little online finesse, I traced it back to Liam Carter, CEO of some mid-sized tech firm downtown. Married. 2 kids. Perfect. Because now, I had leverage. Step 3. Set the trap. I couldn't confront her without a plan. I needed to be smart. Calculated. And that's when I had an idea. Emily's birthday was coming up. She'd mentioned wanting something low-key this year. I played along. But low-key wasn't what I had in mind. I invited our closest friends and family over for a surprise dinner. Something intimate. Special. And Liam? Oh, I invited him too. Through his wife. I found her on social media. Jessica. She looked kind. Sweet. The kind of woman who didn't deserve what was happening behind her back. I sent her a private message. Nothing too aggressive. Just, "Hey, I thought you and Liam might like to come to Emily's surprise birthday dinner. It's going to be small, just close friends. She'd love to see you there." It was a gamble, but Jessica responded almost immediately. "That's so thoughtful. We'd love to come. Just let me know the details." Hook, line, sinker. Step 4. Let it play out. The days leading up to the dinner were torture. Watching Emily act like nothing was wrong. Kissing me goodbye. Telling me she loved me while she was probably texting him. But I held it together. Because I knew what was coming. The night of the party, I was a fucking maestro. Everyone showed up. Friends. Family. Laughter filled the house as people chatted and sipped wine. And then, Liam walked in. With Jessica by his side. I saw Emily freeze for half a second when she spotted him. Her smile faltered just a little, but I saw it. She saw him. And Liam? His face went pale. Jessica was all smiles, completely oblivious. She came over and hugged Emily. "Happy birthday. We're so happy we could make it." Emily mumbled a thank you, her eyes darting toward Liam. I stood back and watched it unfold. The tension was electric. Liam barely looked at Emily. And Emily? She looked like she was going to pass out. But I wasn't done yet. Step 5, the finale. After dinner, I stood up. "Can I have everyone's attention?" I said, clinking my glass. Conversations quieted. Everyone turned to me, smiling. "I just want to say a few words." I began, my voice steady, even though my heart was pounding. I looked at Emily. "This woman," I said, forcing a smile, "has been the love of my life for 8 years. She's been my rock, my best friend, and I thought I knew everything about her." Her eyes flickered with confusion. "And tonight," I continued, "I want to celebrate how much she means to me." I paused. "But before we do that, there's someone else who's been a big part of her life lately. Someone who's made her feel special in ways I apparently couldn't." The room fell dead silent. Emily's face went pale. Liam's eyes widened. Jessica frowned, glancing at her husband. "What's he talking about?" "Now." I pulled out my phone, connected it to the TV, and hit play. The pictures filled the screen. Emily, Liam, the hotel, the kisses, the lies. Gasps echoed around the room. Jessica's hand flew to her mouth. Emily? She looked like she was going to be sick. Care to explain? I asked, my voice cold. She didn't say a word, but the damage was done. Liam tried to speak. Jessica, but she slapped him. Hard. Tears streamed down her face as she turned and stormed out. And Emily? She just stood there, frozen. I didn't wait for an explanation. I was done. Happy birthday. I murmured, my voice dripping with venom. And I walked out. You ever watch a building collapse in slow motion? That's what the days after the party felt like. The shock, the dust, the complete annihilation of everything I thought I knew. I left the house that night. I didn't even grab a bag, just walked out with my keys and got in the car. I drove for hours, not really knowing where I was going, just trying to outrun the chaos swirling in my head. But you can't outrun betrayal. It follows you. It seeps into your bones. And no matter how far you drive, it's still there, waiting for you when you finally stop. I crashed at my brother's place. Mark didn't ask questions at first, just handed me a beer and let me sit on his couch in silence. But eventually, man, he murmured, shaking his head. What the hell happened? And I told him, all of it. By the time I was done, his face was a mixture of anger and disbelief. Jesus, he muttered. Emily, are you serious? Yeah, I croaked, my throat raw from holding everything in. Mark was quiet for a moment, then, so what now? What now? That was the million-dollar question, wasn't it? Emily tried to call me that night, and the next morning, and the next. I didn't answer. I couldn't, but I wasn't ready to ignore her forever. Not yet. I needed to hear her side, even if I already knew it was bullshit. 3 days later, I went home. The house felt different, colder, like the life had been sucked out of it. Emily was sitting on the couch, eyes red and puffy, clutching a mug like it was the only thing keeping her together. When I walked in, she looked up, and for a split second I saw it, guilt, real raw guilt, but it wasn't enough. Hey, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Hey, silence. I didn't sit. I just stood there, staring at her. She swallowed, her eyes brimming with tears. I'm so sorry. Sorry. The word felt hollow. Why? I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. Her lip quivered. I don't know. Bullshit. Her head snapped up. Don't tell me you don't know. I said, my voice calm but ice cold. You don't accidentally fall in a bed with someone, Emily. Her eyes filled with fresh tears. It wasn't like that. Then tell me. I cut her off. Tell me how it was. She opened her mouth, closed it, and that's when I realized she had no excuse. Because there wasn't one. I never meant to hurt you, she whispered, her voice cracking. But you did, I said, my jaw clenched so tight it hurt. She started sobbing. And for a moment, just a moment, I felt something, not sympathy, not love, just sadness. For what we'd lost, for the life we'd built that was crumbling around us. But then I remembered the pictures, the lies, the way she smiled at him, and the sadness turned to steel. I don't know what you want me to say, she choked out. Say the truth. Her eyes met mine, wide and desperate. I never stopped loving you, she whispered. Liar. Who is he? I asked, my voice flat. Liam, she murmured, barely above a whisper. Why? Her bottom lip trembled. It just happened. I let out a bitter laugh. Right. It just happened. You just happened to meet him. You just happened to fall in a bed with him. Multiple times. She flinched. Was it the thrill? I asked, my voice dripping with venom. The excitement of sneaking around? Did it make you feel alive? Tears streamed down her face. I was lonely, she whispered, her voice breaking. I blinked. Lonely? You were distant, she murmured. Work, stress. I felt like I was invisible. I felt my jaw tighten. So, instead of talking to me, you fucked someone else? Her face crumpled, but I didn't care. Do you love him? I asked, the words tasting like poison. She didn't answer. And that silence? That was my answer. I stood up. I can't do this, I said quietly, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might explode. Please, she begged, her voice breaking. Don't leave. We can fix this. Fix this? I looked at her, really looked at her. And, for the first time, I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger. I'm not the one who broke us, Emily, I said, my voice steady. You did. Her face crumpled, but I turned away, because I couldn't look at her anymore. I left that night. For good. I stayed with Mark while I sorted things out. Filed for divorce the next week. Emily tried to call, tried to text. She begged, pleaded, but I was done. And Liam? Oh, he didn't get off easy. I made sure Jessica knew everything. Every single detail. Last I heard, she took the kids and half of his company. Karma's a bitch, isn't it? You ever hear that saying? Revenge is a dish best served cold. Yeah, well, I was about to serve it frozen. After I walked out on Emily, I thought I'd feel relief, like I'd finally let go of the weight crushing my chest. But instead, I felt empty, like I'd been hollowed out and left with nothing but anger and betrayal. I couldn't just move on. Not yet, because I gotta walk away like nothing happened. Emily? She gotta play the I made a mistake card. And Liam? That smug asshole gotta slink back to his perfect little world. Not on my watch. Step 1. Jessica. I stayed quiet for a while after I told Jessica about Liam. Gave her space to process everything. But a couple of weeks later, I reached out. Hey, just checking in. How are you holding up? Her reply came almost immediately. Honestly, not great. But thanks for asking. We ended up talking. A lot. Turns out, Jessica had suspected something for a while, but never had proof. And when I handed her that proof on a silver platter, she didn't hesitate. Filed for divorce. Took the kids. And thanks to a pretty ironclad prenup, Liam was about to lose a lot. But that wasn't enough for me. I wanted more. Step 2. Hit him where it hurts. I knew Liam's business was his baby. He built that tech company from the ground up, and his reputation was everything. So I did what any pissed-off, scorned husband would do. I dug deeper. I had some friends in the finance world, and with a few well-placed questions, I found out something interesting. Liam's company? It wasn't as rock-solid as it looked. He was preparing for a major merger, one that would make him a fortune. But if anything questionable came out about his personal life, the deal would tank. I sat on that information for a while. Planned. Calculated. Waited for the perfect moment. And then, I struck. Step 3. The leak. I created an anonymous email. Sent the pictures of Liam and Emily, along with a juicy little narrative, to a few key people. Board members. Investors. The media. I kept it clean, professional. Just enough detail to raise eyebrows. To make them question if a guy with that kind of personal life could be trusted with a multi-million-dollar merger. And boy, did it work. The fallout was immediate. Liam's name was everywhere. Tech CEO caught in scandal amid merger talks. Infidelity scandal could derail major business deal. Investors panicked. Stocks dipped. And a merger? Dead. Liam's perfect little empire started to crumble. And I was just getting started. Step 4. Emily's turn. See, while Liam was busy putting out fires, I had one last ace up my sleeve. Emily thought she'd gotten away with just losing me. But I wasn't done with her either. When I filed for divorce, I kept it civil. Played the nice guy. I let her think I was walking away quietly. Big mistake, because while she was busy licking her wounds, I was gathering everything. Bank statements, emails, even a few work receipts from her late-night escapades. And when it came time to finalize the divorce, I hit her where it hurt. Half. That's what I took. Our house. Sold. Retirement accounts. Split down the middle. She tried to fight it. But remember that prenup she insisted we didn't need? Yeah. Biggest mistake of her life. Step 5. Public humiliation. I didn't want to just take her money. I wanted to take her reputation. Emily's world was built around appearances. She cared what people thought. She cared about being the perfect wife in our social circle. So, I made sure everyone knew the truth. Our friends? They saw the pictures. Her family? I made sure they knew exactly why I walked away. And her work? Well, let's just say corporate doesn't look too kindly on employees who bring bad press. She lost her job. By the time I was done, Emily was left with nothing. No husband, no house, no career. And Liam? A ruined reputation and a crumbling empire. But the best part? I walked away clean. No drama. No miss. Just freedom. Step 6. The final touch. You'd think I'd be done. But there was one last thing I needed to do. I sent Liam a little gift. A framed photo of him and Emily. at the hotel with a note that read, "Was it worth it? Revenge? Served. Ice. Cold." You ever stand in the middle of the wreckage after a storm? The winds died down. The chaos is over. But all that's left is silence. That's where I was after everything came crashing down. I'd burned it all to the ground. Emily, Liam, their perfect little secret. And I walked away without looking back. But what happens after the fire dies? At first, I thought I'd feel satisfied. Hell, I thought I'd feel victorious. And for a while, I did. Watching Liam's company implode was pure satisfaction. Hearing about Emily losing her job, that was the cherry on top. But after the smoke cleared, I felt empty. Emily tried to reach out. Even after everything, she still tried. The text started a few weeks after the divorce was finalized. "I miss you. Can we talk? I made a mistake, please." Each one hurt a little less than the last. Until one day, it didn't hurt at all. Liam, though, he never reached out. Not that I expected him to. After Jessica took him to the cleaners, he went dark. Last I heard, he had to sell his company to avoid complete financial ruin. Karma's a funny thing. But here's the thing about revenge. It doesn't fix what's broken inside you. Sure, I'd leveled the playing field. I made them pay. But late at night, when the world was quiet and I was alone with my thoughts, I still felt it. The emptiness. The part of me that wondered, could I have done something different? Was I not enough? Why did she throw it all away? Those questions don't disappear. Mark tried to talk sense into me. "Dude," he said one night, sitting across from me at the bar. "You got your revenge. You won. Let go." "I know," I muttered, swirling my drink. "Then why do you look like you just lost a fight?" "Because I did. I lost my wife. I lost the life I thought we were building together. And no amount of revenge can fix that. But healing? That's a different story. It started slow. Small things. Going for walks. Hitting the gym again. Reconnecting with old friends I'd pushed away while I was drowning in Emily's lies. And Jessica. We kept in touch. At first, it was just casual. Checking in. Sharing updates about how we were both navigating life post-divorce. But over time, something shifted. One night, about 6 months after the fallout, she texted me. "Feel like grabbing a drink?" I stared at the screen for a long time. Part of me wasn't sure I was ready, but another part knew I needed this. "Sure," I replied. We met at this little bar downtown. Quiet. Low lights. When I walked in, she was already there, nursing a glass of wine. She looked different. Not sad. Not broken. Stronger. "Hey," I said, sliding into the seat next to her. "Hey." We talked for hours. Laughed. And for the first time in a long time, I felt light. Jessica understood. She didn't pity me. She didn't offer meaningless platitudes. She just got it. Because she'd been through the same hell I had. And there's something about sharing that kind of pain with someone that creates a bond. We started seeing each other after that. Slow. Careful. No rushing. No pressure. Just two people figuring out how to move on. And for the first time, I didn't feel broken anymore. Emily found out eventually. I don't know how, but one night I got a text from her. "So, you and Jessica, huh?" I didn't reply, because she didn't deserve one. "Liam? Well, I'm sure he knows by now too. Not that it matters. Because the best revenge is living a life they'll never be a part of again." Fast forward a year. Jessica and I, we're still going strong. It's not perfect. Nothing ever is. But it's real. And that's enough. Revenge gave me closure. But love gave me a second chance. And as for Emily and Liam, they can keep their broken pieces. I moved on, and I'm finally at peace.